Hello and welcome to the Dealing with Verified Results webinar. So first I want to say thank you for joining, and for those of you that are here on the original airing, you can download some awesome stuff. Just look on the page and you'll find it. Okay, so just like I said, we are dealing with verified results. What that means is that you sent in your dispute, whether that's round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, and the bureaus, the creditors, collection agencies came back and said, this is verified. All right, so we need to start in square one, right? You should be sending out factual-based disputes. Nothing but factual-based disputes, okay? So if you are doing anything different, if you are sending out templates, this is not the video for you. This is not the webinar for you, okay? What I'm saying is that you should be sending out factual-based disputes, because that is the way that you get fast, legal, permanent deletions. If you want to spend a year, 2 years, 3 years giving up your life for your credit, then you know what? By all means, do you. If you are serious about your credit and you want to get those results and you want to move on with your life and be financially free, then stay tuned, all right? So let's jump right in. We are going to do a screen share, all right? So this is the Dealing with Verified Results blueprint that you can download, all right? So this is the free download, and this is exactly what it looks like. This is the process documentation. There's the table of contents, and then this is what you are going to see when you print it. It's actually like this. Let me just go back to my screen and show you a bigger image. Oh, not that one, this one. Okay, so this is actually what you're going to see when you print it. All right, so if we are looking at the screen, let's go and look below here. So there is going to be some there's some extra pages where you can actually print it and track and write down your notes. Okay, so I'm going to actually expand this where I created it, and I'm going to walk you through step by step. All right, the whole point is that there is a process to this. There is a formula to this, all right? So if you follow exactly what I'm saying and you listen and you take notes, you will be able to remove virtually any negative item. That is the bottom line with this, okay? I'm talking about literally everything other than child support. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are, I don't care about your financial status, I don't care what you do for a living. If you follow this very simple formula, you can remove any negative item, okay? So we have to have a starting point. As you can see at the top in the center, that green circle says start analysis. You actually have to look at your credit report and figure out what the heck is going on. Okay, so let's say that you have a collection or a charge off or a public record, a late payment or inquiry. Everything revolves around those 5 things. Okay, so we're going to look at this, and the timing is even on here for you. Now, this is going to look a little bit different than the other ones that I've made, and that's for a reason. We're not looking at the general process. We've already looked at the general process. We're breaking this down step by step. Okay, so you've sent in your dispute letter, they came back, they said you're screwed, you suck, it's verified, don't send any more disputes in, we don't want to hear from you, and now you're just stuck. What do you do after round 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever? Okay, so first thing that you need to do is figure out what information changed, or whether you had any deletions, and what information is actually showing in your credit report, right? So let's say that you are actually disputing a collection. So your first round is going to be unknown, and we are talking about third-party collections, not debt buyer collections. You're going to look at this and you're going to say, okay, round number 1 is unknown. Round number 2, now you can say that it doesn't matter whether it is actually factual or not, because there's no way for them to prove or disprove it. You're going to say, hey, look, the collector didn't verify it, obviously, because it's still on there. They didn't either send in, something with your signature on it, or they didn't put the required notice of dispute. Whatever it is, that is still on there. So you are simply going to say the collector didn't verify it, so how the heck did you, right? Does that make sense? Your next round is simply going to be the MOV, or 609. What that means is the method of verification. So you are still saying this is accurate, right? Still didn't get removed. Now you're on round 3 and you're like, what the heck? How is this still accurate? Where did you get this information from? Now, 609, you can also put that in there. And remember, when I say 609, I'm not talking about that 15-page, pursuant to section 609, you have to do this, that, and the third. No, dude, don't do that. That would be a huge mistake, okay? Use it like I've shown you. I'm not going to go into that right now. That is not what we were talking about right now. Okay, so method of verification or 609. Now, if you look over on the right, directly to the right, you're going to see a VOD 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually that's supposed to just not be there. VOD 4 says 4 twice. So there's letter 1, letter 2, letter 3, letter 4. Now, if you want to get a copy of this series 1 through 4 plus the bureau disputes, you can simply use the link at the end of this video or on this page to purchase, okay? So while you are sending in your bureau disputes, you can also be disputing with the collection agency because you want to do everything that you can and come at them from both sides to get your deletions. You're not saving your ammo for the end. You're using it all in the beginning, okay? You don't come out with squirt guns blazing. No, dude, you come out with your cannons and all of your ammunition, okay? So if you're on round 3 or 4, now you need to actually look and dissect the actual account. Look at are there late payments? Is there a past due? Both of those are violations. Now, if you don't know about violations, I may or may not put a link to that series on YouTube for the violations, but you can very simply go to my channel, go to the playlist, and you will find all of those violations, okay? So I'm not saying that this is the last step, but your collection should definitely be off by now. And if it's not, you can use the data loss activity and data loss payment on a collection, okay? And the very, very last step is CFPB, right? That is the escalation, that is the end point. Anything after that, you're just hammering at something that's not gonna break, okay? So that is how you deal with collections. And remember, just as it says up here, wait 30 days. If you send anything prior to that, they're going to say, hey, look, you sent in additional information, you suck, you were stupid, you did that, and now we have an additional 15 days, okay? Don't screw yourself. Just be patient, okay? 30 days between your disputes, all right? All right, moving on. So you did your analysis and you have a charge-off. I don't care if it's a repossession. I don't care if it's a credit card charge-off. I don't care if it's a loan. It's a charge-off. Okay, if it says collection / charge-off, it's a charge-off. So you do your analysis. Round 1, you sent it out and you started with the top of the hierarchy, right? Data loss activity. They came back and said, no, it's verified. Your next round is the notice of dispute. And as you can see, wait 30 days between disputes. And that's going to be on every single one of them. So that's going to be the last time that I mention that, because that should just be common sense. Okay, so obviously you can kind of split these up, you can switch them around, you can do whatever you want to, but I'm giving you a guide as to, the hierarchy, what's best to use first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth, okay? All about the ammunition, all about the hierarchy, and it's all about the dispute reasons. So you start with the data loss activity. Now you can go to the notice of dispute. If you don't know what the notice of dispute is, it's just something that's required to go on there within 30 days of the date that they receive your dispute. So you count like 3 or 4 days, at the max 5, count 30 days, pull your new report. If it's not on there in the comments that says disputed by consumer, guess what? They're in violation, it has to be removed. Get rid of it. If that doesn't work, now, once again, method of verification or data loss payment. Then you can go to the creditor didn't verify. So as you can see, like I said, this is a little bit different than with the information that I normally give you, because we're not dealing with the process, the normal process, okay, the normal hierarchy. We are dealing with when they actually say, hey, look, you were totally wrong. We're not going to remove this. Or even Experience says we're no longer going to reinvestigate, okay? We're not looking at dispute reasons or anything other than this. Okay, so now you're going to say, well, Capital One didn't verify this, so how did you? Capital One's reporting this, so why do you have this? What was your method of verification? Where's the proof that you did an independent investigation? Where's the proof that you didn't just repeat to me what they said to you? Where's the proof that you didn't just use the automated process, eOscar? Where's the proof that ... Okay, you get where I'm going with that. All right, so now you can go a step even further and say this is illegal reporting. You didn't change the date of last payment or the date of last activity or enter the required notice of dispute. You didn't forward me any documentation proving, that you did an independent investigation. You didn't do any of that. So now, because you failed to abide by the FCRA, now I'm submitting my CFPB complaint because now I have all of this proof that you are actually in violation. You are violating my rights under federal law. Okay, so a lot of the mistakes that you guys make is sending out round one and boop, automatically CFPB complaint. What are you complaining about? You didn't do anything. I mean, that's just common sense. What do you have to uphold a complaint? Absolutely nothing. And they're just going to laugh at you. They're going to just delete it, and they're going to say, oh, well, Experian said, Equifax said, TransUnion said that, this is reporting accurately, and it's not going to go anywhere. So you actually have to put in the work and document all the violations. Otherwise, you are wasting everybody's time, including your own, okay? So while you are doing this with the bureaus, you can also dispute with the creditors. Just please be careful with this, because if it's within the statute of limitations for them taking you to court, you don't want to kind of rush or put yourself in the limelight or anything like that. So anytime that you're writing disputes, just be very careful. I don't care if it's the validation of debt. I don't care if it's the 623 or the section 609. I don't care what it is. Just be careful with your disputes. Okay, so if you are disputing with a creditor, then you would do a 623. If you don't know what that is, simply do a Google search, 623 original creditor dispute, then ask them for the proof. Where is the proof that ... Okay, my credit report says, but you are saying ... Okay, then you can say that, hey, look, the bureaus are reporting something else. You said that the date of last activity is X, but here is the proof right on my credit report that it's actually Y. So therefore, you need to remove this because you're the one that's sending them the information but saying that it's something totally different, right? Because whatever they say is what should be reported on your credit report. But if you are looking for factual disputes, you'll notice that the date of last activity has 3 different dates, or the date of last payment has 3 different dates. Where are they getting this information from? From the creditor. So why wouldn't you go to the original source of information? Hello? Okay. So now you can go after the DOLA, or if they re-aged it. The way that you will know that it was re-aged, if you look at it, you look at the data last activity, and let's just say one is 3 years, different, and it's much newer, then that means it's been re-aged. So instead of coming off, in 1 year, if you've been at 6 years or 6.5 years, now it says that it's not coming off until 2026 or whatever it is. So you have to be very diligent in looking for this information, and you have to know how to go after this, okay? Now, if this doesn't make any sense to you, that is totally cool. If you got here just because it said, hey, free download on, the process for this, that's totally cool. If you don't want to do this, I'll take over your file for you. But if not, let's keep going, all right? So your next thing is going after the violations, and then the CFPB. As you can see, everything ends with the CFPB. Everything after that is a lawsuit, okay? You should not be disputing past 6 or 7 rounds. I mean, you're basically just hammering at something that's not gonna break. I mean, there's a lot of people that spend like years with companies. I mean, like literal years, and then notice that after like 12 months, nothing's happening other than their bank account is like dwindling each and every single month. That's because the longer you dispute, the harder it is to remove the negative items. So you need to do it the right way the first time, whether it's following my step-by-step guide, this proven system, or whether that's coming with me, okay? So you need to know what you're doing. So now if you have a public record, a bankruptcy or tax lien or judgment, yes, they are disputed differently, but this is the process that you would go through, okay? So first, the court, the date, or the plaintiff, okay? Obviously, if it's a judgment. Then missing personal information. So if you recall, the actual laws for the way that judgments and tax liens report have recently changed, right? Your personal information now has to be on there. It's not going to report on, credit check total or Experian or IdentityIQ. I'm talking about like the physical reports you get in the mail. Okay, so you do need to request them, you do need to look at them, and you need to know what you're looking for. If your name, your date of birth, and your social is not on there, it needs to go. Okay, so then you can go after the method of verification. Did you just get this information from LexisNexis? Did you, whatever. So you need to find out how they're verifying this information. And once again, this is another reason why you're going after the facts. Why are you going after the facts? Well, if you just send in some dumb letter with some dumb law that you think that you overnight you became a teacher and you're going to, teach them about the freaking FCRA, like, you are sadly mistaken. You're not going to teach them anything, okay? The only person that looks stupid in that situation is you. So instead of trying to act like you're smart and look like a lawyer that you're not, or a paralegal or whatever, and put some fake stupid stuff on the letter, then you're doing this incorrectly. You need to go after the facts. You need to know what you're looking for, okay? So don't be asking them for the copies of this and the copies of that, because they're just gonna say, hey, look, it was verified through these dudes. That's all they have to say. And now you're screwed. When you could have said that, hey, look, this needs to be removed because, that's the justifier, ... This is a violation because I asked for this and ... Okay, so what was your method of verification when you said that this is accurate and that you said that this belongs to me, but I wasn't saying that it didn't. I told you that it needs to be removed because it's in violation for reporting a court name that doesn't match, consistently across the board, or that the city and state is missing from the bankruptcy court name, or that the plaintiff says this on here, or that those two show that I'm paid and this one says 0. Like, whatever it is, you need to tell them why you're removing it or why it needs to be removed, and then catch them in the violation when they tell you something that has no relevancy whatsoever. All right, then you can go a step further. This does not meet the requirements of the FCRA. And how did you actually verify this when it's not reporting accurately? All right, so after that, you would go for illegal reporting. Now, because there's no creditor for this, there's nothing that's going to be parallel. All right, so once again, it ends with the CFPB. Now, let's say that you didn't pay Capital One on time a couple years ago, or you didn't pay your car on time 3 months ago, right? Doesn't matter, it's a late payment. Now, one thing I do want to say real quick is that if you have multiple late payments, that would be treated as a charge-off because you are actually removing the entire account. If you only have a 30-day or a 60-day or a 90-day, then that's fine. Go after the late payments because you can just get them removed and update the account to be paid as agreed, right? So now we're looking at late payments, and you're going to simply say, hey, look, it says right here, I was late on X date. I wasn't late. Where's the proof? You need to remove it and update this to paid as agreed, right? 30 days later, they come back and say, hey, look, you were late. Sorry to tell you that, but this is verified. Well, you actually have a couple different things that you can do. First, you can go after them and say, hey, what's your method of verification? Where's the bank statement that belongs to them that shows that I was ever late? Because that's the only legal verification that you can have. Or you can say, well, Experian shows this, but you're showing this, and TransUnion shows that. And don't you guys get the same information from the same creditor and are supposed to report the same things? Remove the late payment. All right? Okay. Now, you can also go after the first date of delinquency. That date, whatever that date is incorrect. I was actually paid on time, so please remove all of these 3 late payments or 4 late payments, whether they're spanning, 2 years or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If they can't verify one, they can't verify any of them, right? Okay, then you go after method of verification. Then you tell them, hey, look, this is false reporting because you didn't legally verify this. So each and every time they're coming back and telling you that you are wrong and they are right. But unless they have the actual legal documentation that proves otherwise, you need to keep going to get the deletion or the correction, okay? And once again, it all ends with the CFPB, okay? So, last one, inquiries. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I hate inquiries. I hate dealing with the creditors. I hate, looking at someone's credit report and seeing like 50 different creditors that I have to send letters to, because that's like 50 different letters per round. I mean, that's a lot. Like, I hate inquiries, okay? So there's like 50 different ways to go after them, and you know what? They're getting more and more difficult as time goes on. I mean, all of these things are. Soon, you're gonna get to a point where you just can't remove anything. They're gonna say, hey, look, we gave you all this time to fix your credit, and you just continue to be irresponsible. So now, as a whole, we're gonna make it just like it was in the 70s, where you didn't even know what was on your credit to begin with, and you had no control over it. We're gonna do that again, because you guys are just so irresponsible. And they know that you're irresponsible because there's like a $1 bazillion in debt, okay? So not only that, but there's so many inquiries. People are going and applying for things that they're never going to be approved for. Like, if you don't even have one positive line, why are you applying to American Express or Barclays or, Chase or something? That doesn't even make any sense. So people are utilizing their credit wrong, and you need to know how to remove these inquiries, okay? So if you don't, that's totally fine. Come to me, I'll remove them. But if you want to know, there is a process to this. You do need to dispute with the bureaus and the creditors, and you have to make phone calls, and you have to fax, okay? Not the bureaus. There's no more faxing with the bureaus, and I don't want to hear anything from anybody telling me different, because unless you can actually prove that you sent something and that you received it and you got your deletion, then I don't want to hear it, all right? That shit ended in November, okay? So moving on, go after the purpose, go after the application, go after the proof of verification, then go after the creditor invalidate, and then go after illegal reporting. Now, on the creditor side, once again, you can dispute with everybody, right? Creditor, you're gonna tell them this is unknown. Hey, look, I don't really remember, filling out this application. Where's the proof of it? Because they're not gonna have proof, right? Then go after the application, proof, and then illegal reporting. Now, like I said, there's a couple different ways to do this, but we are going after the most effective process for when these come back as verified. And once again, it all ends with the CFPB. Just like I said, in the beginning, you don't have to follow this exactly, right? This is just a blueprint for you. It doesn't mean that you have to build your entire house the way that I'm telling you, you know what I mean? You can, change the windows. You can go for bay windows instead of, whatever the heck was originally on there. You can add in the basement, you can add a pool, build a deck, all that kind of stuff. This is just a blueprint where you can start from, so that you know how to track this, and you know what to do when they come back and say that it's verified. Because one of the biggest problems that a lot of my subscribers face, and I'm taking this based off the comments and based off of all of my conversations and my phone calls and my clients, a lot of people get stuck because they don't know what to do after this, right? So that's why I create these blueprints and these documents and all these charts and these programs and the software and these apps and just everything, because there is a way to get there. You just need to know how to do it, and that is what I'm here for. Now, as I'm sure you know what's coming next, if you don't know how to do this and you don't have time, or you're just lazy, or it is what it is, I can help you. Hopefully I can. I will tell you straight up, there's two things that cannot be removed, and there's nothing that you could do or any amount that you could pay me to go after them. Child support and foreclosures in process. I'm not going to waste your time. You're not going to waste my time, okay? So besides those two things, everything else can be removed or corrected. So like I said, if you don't have the time to do this, or you don't want to do this, or you want the best results and you want fast, legal, permanent deletions, then I can help you, all right? I'm gonna put the link on the video, on the screen, all right? And there's going to be a link to the store near this video. Normally, it's down below it, all right? So I'm gonna put that up on the screen right now. Now, if you guys have any questions, make sure to let me know. Now, we have another one coming on establishing credit, all right? And then we're going to go back to the Dave Ramsey series on the total money makeover, total financial makeover, whatever the heck it was, all right? So that is basically it. Like I said, if you need help, just make sure to let me know. And if you guys want me to create one of these, or a chart or a program or whatever it is, make sure to email me or put it in the comments, or shoot me something with like a pigeon or whatever, and I'll make sure to make it happen. All right, so I will see you guys later. And for those of you that made it to the end, I do appreciate that, and thanks for joining the webinar. I'll see you guys later.